Hi, everybody. Welcome. I am, I'll have to, I'll have to admit people and talk at the same time. See how I do. Okay. I am Bailey Burke. I am the interim director for Upstate Capital Association. Upstate Capital is a membership organization focused on driving investment into the upstate New York region. Early stage venture capitalist and private equity investors founded the organization in 2003 to provide places and opportunities to build relationships and facilitate working together to support the private equity, M&A community, and the seed and VC ecosystem. Upstate Capital has an educational arm that is dedicated to supporting entrepreneurs in New York State. The organization is part of the infrastructure that's providing super regional programming and support for entrepreneurship since its inception, organizing programs and connecting resources across the communities. One of our programs is the NYBPC, New York Statewide Intercollegiate Entrepreneurship Competition. The program started in 2010 and has served over 8,000 students and helped launch over 170 ventures. We're always looking for established entrepreneurs and leaders in the business community to support the program by participating as judges or mentors of the program. You can find more information about that at nybpc.org. Our other program is Invest New York, of course. We launched Invest New York, which is a data platform mapping the innovation and investment ecosystem across upstate New York.
There's no bagging for diapers, no.
It offers open source intelligence on startups, innovation, high growth companies, ecosystems, and investment strategies. I am very pleased to introduce you to my colleague, Alon, who helps people in the investment ecosystem build better through data and insights with Deal Room. Alon, please take it away.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Bailey. Hi everyone. I'm Alon, and I'm coming to you live from Amsterdam. So it's kind of the end of the day for me. So if I make any mistakes, yeah, forgive me. So I've been with Dylan for almost 3 years now. I work with a lot of our ecosystem partners, which are similar to Upstate Capital, have their innovation platforms across the world, really, from Australia through Japan, Asia, Europe, Africa, and North America, and also a couple in South America as well. And Dirum is a global data provider for anything related to startups and tech ecosystems. So companies, investors, funding rounds, accelerators, government support programs, all of these things are available in our database. We've been around since 2013. Our founder is Dutch. That's why we're in Amsterdam. But he did work in New York for 2 or 3 years, I think, for one of the big banks. He was an investment banker. And basically, his reason for starting Dealroom was that it's a tool that he was missing. So he founded it. We have, as I said, been working with ecosystems around the world for quite some time. We also publish our own kind of research material on different ecosystems and different verticals. And what I'm going to walk you through today is our New York State platform. The platform is built to give visibility to your ecosystem and to help you as kind of founders, companies, make the most out of the data that already exists. It's already there. So we figured it's worthwhile for everyone to kind of learn how you can improve upon it, use it, and basically make sure you get the exposure you want and need to, investors or anyone else who's out there looking for companies such as yours. So I'm going to share my screen, and there it is. One sec. Yep. Do let me know if you can see it. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Bailey. All right. So this is the platform. Hopefully some of you have come across it in the past. But even if not, that's okay. I'm going to quickly walk you through what exists on this platform. And then I'll focus on the things you can do, again, as as companies to improve upon your own data that's been showcased and how you can use it to kind of discover potential investors and do a lot of fun things. So up here you can see the URL, so it's investny.org. That's all I need to do. And signing up to the platform is free. So obviously I am signed in, but if it wasn't, then you would have seen a sign up, sign in buttons here. Just use your company email. That's quite important because then we can automatically match you with your company profile and offer you the opportunity to, again, make edits, upload pitch decks, all these things, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. Now, after you've signed up, or even if you didn't, because the platform will still be open to you even if you're using it anonymously, you'll see this dashboard, which contains some tidbits of data about the states. We have it also divided into different areas, and you can look at specific data for each of the regions if you wanted to. Most of the numbers you'll see here will also take you their hyperlinks, so they will take you to the corresponding lists of companies, investors, funding rounds, and I'm going to go over all of that in a bit. If we scroll a bit down, we'll see some data cards. So data cards, again, are related to the ecosystem, the first three at least, and they showcase startups, breakouts, and scale-ups, which are divided by the amount of funding. They basically get updated every day with either new companies or existing companies that have had an update or a change in their funding. If we scroll a bit further down, we'll get to the user's personal area. And these data cards will either showcase things that you've saved while using the app, so lists and searches. And again, I'm going to show you what both of these are in a few minutes. And the other two would show you new data based on either one of those. For example, recent rounds will show you recent rounds for companies that match the ones you've saved to lists. New companies will show you new companies that match previously saved search criteria. So if you looked for, companies in health tech that have raised at least 10 mil, and a certain company had 5, but now they raised a bit more, then you're going to see them here. That's basically how it works. Then we have our kind of partner page, so you can see exactly who's involved. Here, there's also some information about the platform itself, things like our taxonomy, where the data comes from, which is quite important. Very quickly, our data comes from either automated tools scraping open sources across anywhere and everywhere, or from our partners. So they can say, for example, a government can share the list of grants that they've given over the years, things like that. And as I mentioned, from the users themselves, if they have a company in the database, they can add their own data, which we, of course, verify after they do it. Next up is the curated content page. So this is where you'll find some graphs and charts that are related to the ecosystem in general. So again, the big stuff, patents, VC locations, all these things. We also have some landscapes and lists that are relevant either to the ecosystem or to our partners, which you can just click and then it brings you to a list of companies. And then down below, there are some curated queries or searches based on either a region or an industry. So health tech, fintech, it's all there. Clicking on any one of these would take you to a list on the companies page, which I'm going to show you in a couple minutes. And this is also a nice way of kind of understanding how queries are built on the app. So if you click one, you'll see exactly what data points were used, etc. So it can help you understand how to make queries of your own. Next up is the guide that we have for New York State, which is something that, again, we've made in collaboration with our partners here. And the data here updates every, well, depending on the chart, really, it could be year or a quarter. But it's worth kind of going back to it if you ever want to get a macro level view of what's going on in the ecosystem, some comparisons, city-wise, all these things. They're here, and again, should be updated every year. So you can see here's already Q4 data for last year. All these things are already here. Now moving on to the companies page. So this is where the bulk of the data lives, in relation to companies. The best use case for this page is again some competitor scouting, some market scouting, and also just checking out your own company once you find it. So there are a few ways of searching for information on the app. First and foremost, at the top of every page, there's a direct named search, kind of like a Google, where you need to type the name of your company, investor, even person. Let's do it with Upstate Capital. And then you can see here we found Upstate Capital. So this is a direct, name search. However, you will most likely want to create a query to kind of maybe see who else is in the same space as you or any other reason. And that can be done in two ways. One is using the free search bar here, where it says type to filter results. So you can basically type in anything you want, something like fintech, for example. And then if you give it a couple of seconds, this little menu is going to pop up, and it will show you things like industry, which is what we call verticals. And then you can click that. Some investors that are relevant within kind of the name or the background, tags, and just the keywords. So if you don't want to use any of the kind of taxonomy items or any of these investors, you just click the keyword, and then you'll see all the companies with fintech in their description, either the short one or the long one, if we have it. So that's how this works. However, as new users, newcomers to the app, I do recommend starting with the advanced filters, because this is where you can see every data point that exists on the database. Quite a few here. So I'm going to quickly go over the ones that are most relevant. Again, when you're looking for your own market, competitors, that kind of thing. So you can start with the market and type tool, which lets you look at things like client focus, business models, industries, as well as sub-industries if we have them. Things like technologies, so AI, deep tech, all these things. And then finally down below, tags, which again, we have a few hundreds of, and those can be quite specific. So for example, if we want to look at something like climate, for example, then we'll see that there are quite a few climate tags, right? So it's climate tech, fintech, adaptation risk, all these things are available. Once you've picked something, by the way, it will be just added to the query here. Now, the reason all these specific data points are colored in red is because they are excluded from the query. So we're not looking right now on any company that is closed, a nonprofit, mature, or outside tech. So we're looking at tech startups and scale-ups, basically. The way to switch in between or exclude other data points is just to hover over one once you've picked it, or if it's already here, and then you can click include or exclude. And then if you include it, it becomes blue. If you exclude it, it becomes red. Pretty simple. You can also look at a company's size in terms of a growth stage, employee numbers, valuations, revenues, all these things are available. You can filter with funding, either in terms of amounts or types of rounds. And then you can either look at the total or the last one. So for example, if I'm looking at companies who have raised at least, let's say, a round A, I'll go to raise the following round at any point and then click Series A, right? So that's how you use this one. We can look at the founders as well, as far as we have data for them in terms of ages, genders, where they went to school, where they worked before, all these things. If you want to check out a previous associate or colleague. That's where you do that. We have specific tags for all the SDGs as well. If that's something that is relevant, you can just click the appropriate SDG and you can view it. You can also check if you want to look at companies that have patents or that have patents in a specific category. So that's also something that's available. And then there's a few others here, but those are the big ones. So once we have our query here, basically all I did now is added the round A. I click apply. And once I've done that, then it filters all of the companies according to my query. From here, I can do a few things, right? First off, I can sort this table now with any of the columns. So let's look at valuation, for example. So that's how that works. I can change it into a landscape view, which gives me a basic data point such as industries, technologies, and then it groups all the companies together. So again, if you're looking at other companies in your field, that's a really good way of doing that because you can see all their logos, their names, you can see exactly who's who. And then lastly, I can save this view by clicking the Save and Export button here. It will open the screen. I can give it a name, any name I want, and then click Save. Once it's saved, then it will live on the data card that I've shown you on the dashboard, and it will also live here in the saved items area, which is little heart icon here at the top. Next thing I'm going to show you is investors. So these are all of the investors that are involved in the New York State ecosystem. So not necessarily the ones that are located in it, but every investor that ever invested in a single company, at least from the state. You can filter these as well. So looking at the advanced filters, obviously the data points would be a little different here, but there's still kind of quite a few. Once you found an investor you're interested in, you want to dive a little deeper into them, then you click their profile, and then you can get quite a lot of information about them, including their full portfolio, unrelated to whether that company is in New York State or not. So you can make some comparisons there as well. If you want to, you can see that the filtering is available through here as well. We also keep track of things like universities, accelerators, all of these things, kind of similar to the investors, is where you click a university, you can see its spin-outs, its alumni companies, all of these things. And then lastly is the transaction tool, which lets you view kind of historical data regarding funding rounds or exits. And then from here as well, you can do your filtering and you can save it, you can return to it, you can see what is the landscape once you filter with the characteristics of your own company. It's pretty cool. Now, what can you do once you kind of find your own profile and potentially claim it? So let's just look at one of the companies here. Let's do this one. It's just the first up on the list. And the way a company profile is built is it basically showcases, well, quite a lot of information. So starting with the general stuff like addresses, websites, all these things, people, valuation. There on the right, there are the tags that we use to describe a company. So you've got the dark blue ones, which are the big things, like again, their business model, client focus, main industry. Then we've got the gray tags, which are a little more specific in terms of a company's technology or its histories. For example, this company has tags for things like Core AI or Gen AI, but it also has a tag for Y Combinator, meaning it went through Y Combinator at some point. So all of these can be tags. Again, on the right-hand side is the deal room signal, and that is our own indicator that kind of we've developed in-house on how interesting a company is at this point in time, because it is dynamic, from the viewpoint of, let's say, an investor, a potential business partner, all these things. Even people looking for jobs and wanting to work for the hottest companies, because we do have that option as well. The way that the score is calculated, it's not an average, as you can see here, because 92 is definitely not the average of the four numbers you see here, is, well, The actual formula is our own, and we don't share it, but we do show you kind of what goes into calculating it, with is completeness, which is the amount of data we have about a company, the founding team in terms of their background, education, previous jobs, etc. Growth rate, mainly in terms of employees over time, and again, it is relative. So if a company had 10 employees a year ago and it has 20 now, it will still have a great score, just like a company that had 500 a year ago and then 700 now, for example. And then lastly is timing, which relates to the funding. And the way that works is once a funding round has been logged, the timing score is going to go down to pretty much zero, because now would be a bad time from an investor point of view to be interested. And then it's going to slowly go up and up over the next like 18 to 24 months. And then it's going to reach 100. And then if after 4 or 5 years, there's still no funding, then it's going to start slowly dropping down again. So for this specific company, you can see timing score is relatively low. And that is because they had a pretty meaty round not too long ago, so a couple months ago. If you scroll down here, so again, we've got the funding, financials, if we have them. If they're public, then we'll have them. We've got, again, employees over time, web visits, which is also something that we track, locations, tech stack, and the people. So there's also people data. No way of contacting them in-app right now, mainly because most of these would be names of profiles that we kind of took from somewhere else, so we don't have their permission to contact them. But also it's just, yeah, if you know their name, you can probably find them on other platforms. Right? Now, assuming you have signed up for the platform with an email address that matches a company's URL, so again, someone@tanner.com, then you should be automatically prompted to take ownership of your company profile. If not, and you do want to do it, then you can always email our support team. So it's support@theorem.co. We can share it later. And so you can do that as well, and then we will help you with it. Once you've done that, you will be able to see this notes feature. So that's the first thing. And this is a really neat feature because once you click it, you see that you can create one of a number of notes, starting with business pitch, fundraising pitch, hiring pitch, all the way to public and private notes. So business and fundraising pitch is where you can upload your pitch deck, where you can share a YouTube video, write a few things about the company, the tech, etc. The difference is a business pitch will show up for all users, and if they want to, they can explore it. A fundraising pitch will also create an alert for investors who use any of our platforms, including the global one, so basically investors from all over the world, that your company is currently fundraising. We work with, I would say, 97% of kind of global big investors, and most of them will have this alert active, which means that if you do choose to upload and define your deck as a fundraising pitch, they will be notified. If not, then you can just do a business pitch, and then they can find you, and then they can view the deck or the video or whatever. If you want, you can also just have a note detailing anything about the company, or you can have a private note, which is just for you and anyone else on your team that has access. Only you will be able to see it. An important thing to mention here is that your profile on this platform is identical. It's really the same profile as the one on our global database. It's the same thing. And again, as mentioned, our global database is being used by the investors and everyone else. So whatever you change or update or upload here is automatically available also on the global one. So that's also important to know. Second thing you can do once you've claimed your profile is to make data edits. And you do that by clicking this pencil icon here. And it will take you to the data editing screen. And from here, it is quite simple. So you can see that you can edit your info, you can edit your main tags, and then your custom tags, addresses, funding rounds, who's on the team, all these things are available for you to edit. We will verify everything you add, of course. If you add $10 billion valuation to the company, then we will verify and then probably remove it, unless it's true, and then congrats. So this is also something you can do. Now, another thing I would like to show you is how you can customize lists, which also can be quite interesting if you want to keep track of your competitors, other companies in the space, or even investors, because you can have lists for companies and you can have lists for investors. So to add a company to a list, all you have to do is click this Save button here. It's the blue one. And then if you already have some lists, then you can add it to an existing list, or you can create a new one and then just give it a name and have that list. Once you have a list, and let me show you one of mine. Let's just pick, I guess this one's pretty good. So once you have a list with a few companies, so you've added some companies here, you can do a few things. You can give it a name. You can add some text here. So again, if you would like to have more than one person work on this list, you can say, okay, this list is for our competitors, companies we want to be like, all these things. You can share it with other people with accounts on Dealroom by clicking this little three dot icon here, add more owners, look for your colleague or whatever by name, add user, done. And then they will also be able to add companies, remove companies. You remove them, by the way, by just hovering over it, clicking this little heart icon. It does say save, but it will let you basically remove them once you do that. And then assuming you have a list with many, many companies, then you can also query from the list itself. So again, free search, advanced filters, all of these things are available to do. Now, I think I talked for like half an hour. So I think if there are any questions, that would be a great time to ask them. So yeah, floor is yours.
Question, is this primarily focused on New York-based company?
Yeah, so basically, the companies you'll see on this platform are all located, at least partially, in New York State. So basically, if they are headquartered there, were founded there, and then they can move, but they'll still be on the platform, or they have an office, a branch, all these things. So yeah.
Is this subscription-based, so you have to sign up to use this
Good question.
subscription? I would imagine that's how you know.
So signing up is free because Upstate Capital is basically the financier of this thing. So you do have to sign up to use the tools like advanced filters or to view some of the company's data. Even if you're not signed up, you can still kind of make queries and view at least part of the data about every company. But to use all of the tools and to create lists, for example, like I've just shown you, you will have to be signed up. It is free though.
Okay.
Signing
I
up
mean,
just costs your email.
I'm sorry, say what?
Signing up just costs your email.
Yeah,
Got
exactly.
you. Now well, our company started here in New York. I'm actually in our lab right here in New York, but we're branching out. I mean, we do seawall, right? That's what we do.
Yeah.
And the market is down Florida, and so we're trying to set up an operation down there. We started 2 projects down there, and where we are at right now, I think beyond pre-seed, I guess we look trying to scale it. How does this work? If we were trying to get a capital infusion of,
So what I would recommend you do is you go and look at the investors page. And from here, basically make a query for companies that are similar to yours. Again, the more specific you are, the better to a point, because you can become too specific and then you won't find as much data as you want. But yeah, just go to the again, let me so go to the investors page, use the advanced filters, go to your kind of type, stages. We said if you're looking for some investor who is mainly involved in seed rounds, all these things, you can look at activity, and then you can check out investors who are involved in specific industries, sub-industries, technologies, or just SDGs, all these things, because with seawalls, SDGs could be a relevant data point. And then you just hit apply, and then you'll see the list of investors that are relevant in this case. And then you can save it. You can say, okay, I have, I know, 100 investors here. Let me look at the ones that are, that had the most rounds over time. So they're the most active. Let's look at the ones with the largest portfolio. Let's just pick a couple and see what they do. And then you can see exactly like which investors would be relevant in your case. Yeah.
This thing's being recorded. Can I have the recording so I can share to my CFO? I think this is where the CFO would spend a lot of time on this.
Probably.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I would love for him to really dive into these things. So, and go from there.
Yeah, we'll make the recording available to everyone.
Great.
All righty. Any other questions?
Uh,
See if-
Would you mind just dropping a link to where we can log in our emails and start playing around with the dashboard?
Sure. Bailey, I think you can send everyone, right, the link to the platform. So yeah, that would be the best thing.
you.
Also, do we need to have our company email associated with the account that we signed up with, or does it have to be a specific email?
So if you want to automatically have the access, then you'll need to sign up with a company email that matches the URL that we have, right? So someone@yourcompany.com or whatever. You can also sign up with LinkedIn or with other emails you have, but then you'll probably have to contact support in order to be matched and get access to edit your profile.
Thank you.
The support on the platform is great, I'll say. And easily contact them, they'll help you quickly.
Okay. Seems like there's no further questions.
One more question, sorry.
Oh yeah, sure.
Regarding contacting investors via the website, is there any way as how you go about that when actually like speaking to people, or is it just strictly for comparing and seeing like who is in the market that's getting these funding?
That's a good question. So for now, there's no way of contacting specific people in app. There's quite a few limitations. Again, I mentioned that a lot of these, the people data here is basically something that we've taken from kind of open sources, as well as some of them just didn't give us any permission to do it. However, once you know who the people are, so you can see here the partners and all these things, and then you can find them on LinkedIn, any other platform, and then you can contact them there. You can tell them you find them through Dealroom. Chances are they'll know exactly what you're talking about, and they'll be like, okay, so this guy is like, he's serious. Like he went and looked for us, so should be worth talking to them. So yeah.
One other question. Given that these companies that are listed are in growth stages, and sometimes investors want to know through vendor due diligence of what type of risk mitigation that they've applied, do you list any type of ISO standards that they've achieved?
Good question. Not right now.
Okay.
Basically, it's quite a difficult data point to scrape automatically. But it's a good idea, to be honest. I'll have a chat with my product team, see if it's something we can add. We have recently started to add trade register numbers. which is
Mhm.
sort of, kind of along the same lines. And it is complicated, right? So some countries, it's really easy to find and it's open source. Some countries it's paywalled. So yeah, it's quite tricky. And the same goes for ESO and all these things. But yeah, something that's definitely worth considering maybe adding to the pipeline. Yeah.
Which I'm happy to connect with you on the back end, only because there's a huge increase in ethical AI and risk mitigation. And I do know that large tech companies are looking for those certifications in order to partner up with these smaller businesses.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to shoot you an email afterwards and potentially discuss a few ways that we may be able to collaborate on that.
Sure. Bailey, again, if you can share my email with everyone, that's perfect. One thing I will say is that if you're looking to indicate your own company's kind of certifications, then you can definitely do that by, again, claiming your profile and then adding a note, just says, certifications, and then you can detail it there, and any other users, so investors and stuff, they'll be able to see it. So yeah.
I find the accelerated portion very useful on the website. I just wanted to know, is it constantly updated with deadlines and things like that? So we just know what's the most updated version. Is that information being updated frequently?
Yeah, so data updates happen all the time. It's really just an ongoing process. So again, because we have all these automated tools, then any company in the database is constantly being updated. So whenever something is announced or some new piece of information, it's immediately added. I can say that in terms of things like funding rounds, we're now at a point where a funding round would be in the database within 24 hours. And then the rest of the things are quite, quite on a similar time frame. And the same goes with accelerators. It's a bit different because an accelerator needs to basically announce, let's say, a cohort in order for us to be able to know and scrape. Or indeed, they can just tell us directly, which a lot of them do. So that might on a little longer time frame. But if it's out there and it's public, then chances are we'll have it almost immediately.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Great. All set then?
Yep, seems so.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thanks everyone for coming.
Yeah.